Sorry, I was just watching the season finale of Rings of Power. Now, you would think that the last episode in a season would be very engaging and very entertaining, but yet, in Rings of Power's finale, it's still a slow, boring show. But before we get into anything, guys, if you enjoy my content and you want to see more, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Like I said, episode 8 of Rings of Power is still boring and slow. I thought maybe, hey, the finale would be better, right? But, it's not. I will say, though, the show has been consistently bad. I will say there are a few good things in this episode. For example, Halbrand is by far the best character, in my opinion. In this episode, we finally get some backstory on him, and we find out that, well, spoiler alert, he's Sauron. You know, the person Galadriel was trying to find and defeat the whole entire show. During the big reveal of this Sauron, we actually get a pretty cool sequence in Galadriel's head. She has a moment with her brother. She also has a moment with Halbrand on the raft that he saved her on. And I will say the actress who plays Galadriel probably had her best performance during this sequence. And of course, we also get a cool visual of Sauron and Galadriel in the reflection of the water. Yeah, you know what? Come to think of it, this whole episode was a big game of who is Sauron. Slim Shady thinks Jesus is Sauron. Galadriel thinks Celebrimbor is Sauron at one point. I thought Galadriel was Sauron at one point. I mean, look at the smile when they're making the rings. You can't tell me that's not an evil smile. But the reveal of Sauron wasn't the only big reveal we got this episode, because we also get to find out who Jesus is. Kind of. My guess, and I think they want you to guess this too, is he's Gandalf. Just based off the way he talks to Nori, and he actually says a quote he said in the previous movies. I think we can all assume that this is Gandalf. But the whole story with Slim Shady and these wise men, women? Them. When they're chasing Jesus and trying to capture him, it's very just bleh to me. And to be honest, it's not very exciting. Especially when Slim Shady doesn't talk and spends the whole time doing this. Slim Shady does spit some hot fire bars again, and we actually get to see a California gender reveal party.
I can swallow a bottle of alcohol in 'em, feel like Godzilla. Like the cartilla, my whole squad.
I also have to point out this very clever dialogue put in this scene.
I'm good.
$1 billion, people. $1 billion. The head Hartfoot also dies, but the show really didn't make me care enough about this character for me to like feel anything during this scene. I could tell what I was supposed to feel during this, but I ended up just, you know, staring at the screen with no emotion. Another thing about this episode is it definitely felt like the showrunners had to add in some moments so they can fill the runtime. A lot of slow-mo shots of them pouring the stuff in the things. And even more slow-mo shots of them smiling at each other. Also, when Nori is leaving her tribe, it felt like it took her forever to say goodbye. She just slowly walks away, waving at everyone. Lastly, I want to talk about my biggest complaint for not only this episode, but for the entire show. It's bigger than the terrible acting. It's bigger than the crappy dialogue. It's bigger than the vague storylines. It took them a whole season to make rings. The show is called Rings of Power, people, and we don't see rings until the finale. 0 out of 10. Terrible show. In the end, Rings of Power season finale is yet another boring episode. Sure, there were some cool scenes, but that doesn't save it at all. There's still problems with the dialogue and with the overall story. Halbrand definitely stands out this series just because he has an interesting story, but at the end they do make him into an incel.
Oh, Galadriel won't be my queen? Women are dumb.
Speaking of Galadriel, she went the whole season being the most hated character ever. Not once this season did I like Galadriel at any point. All in all, nothing of real importance happened this season, and if it did, I was probably sleeping. This show definitely did not live up to my expectations, and I'm sure not the only one to think that. To me, it felt like the IP was given to people who didn't care much for the source material. They just wanted to work on a big Amazon project to put on their resume. There was so much potential here to tell a good Tolkien story, but it was wasted. There was no passion, no respect for the source material, and definitely a lack of talent. I think it's safe to say that Amazon here just flat out wasted $1 billion. I did not like this show, and I probably won't be watching season 2 when it comes out in 2 years. Wait, if it's coming out in 2024, that means it's going to come out during the election year? I'll call it right now. I bet season 2 is all about an election and how not to vote in racism or something like that. Did you guys watch The Rings of Power? If you did, let me know what you thought down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. If you want to catch up on any other reviews or any other one of my videos, please be sure to click on this playlist right here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.